Today, we've got 34 words that are easily confused in English due to their different meanings and pronunciation, even though they're spelled exactly the same. Let's get to it. First things first, these are homographs. Homographs are words that have the same written form, so they look the same on paper, but they have different meanings and different pronunciation. All right, so let's get into the word. Conduct. Conduct is the way a person acts or behaves, so that's a noun. There can be a code of conduct, which is a rule that states the norms and responsibilities of a certain individual. To conduct is to organize and carry it out. For example, the scientist is conducting several experiments in her lab. 2, attribute and attribute. So an attribute is a characteristic or a quality that someone has or possesses. For example, kindness is a wonderful attribute to have. Now the verb attribute means that you treat something as being caused by something else. For example, she attributes her success in languages to having a good ear. 3, combat and combat. Combat is a physical battle or non-violent conflict. But the verb form to combat something is to take action to prevent or reducing something bad or undesirable. To combat the spread of a disease means that you're on a mission to reduce the disease. 4, conflict and conflict. Conflict is an argument or a disagreement that's generally prolonged, meaning it takes a while. The conflict between working to pay the bills and working for enjoyment. But the verb to conflict means to clash or be incompatible with something. Two people's interests might conflict at times, meaning that they don't always have the same shared interests. 5, contest and contest. A contest is a competition between 2 or more people where there's a prize at the end for someone to win. For example, a spelling bee is a spelling contest, but to contest something means to dispute or oppose something. He contested the issue, or he contested the parking ticket. 6, contract and contract. A contract is a legal agreement between 2 or more people. For example, you sign a contract for work or when you're leasing an apartment. To contract something means you catch it. For example, he contracted the flu at work. But as a verb, it can also mean muscles becoming shorter and tighter, meaning during strength workouts, we contract our muscles. If we're doing a bicep curl, we are contracting our bicep. 7, decrease and decrease. A decrease in something is lowering something. So for example, the decrease in the population. But to decrease something is to actively lower something as a verb form. We might decrease our sugar intake to be healthier. 8, escort and escort. An escort is someone who accompanies someone else at a social event or for protection, like a bodyguard. For example, her older brother, who was a retired cop, was her escort for the Met Gala this year. To escort someone means to accompany them. So she escorted her best friend back to her Airbnb so she wouldn't get lost. 9, impact and impact. Impact is effect or influence on something. This book made a great impact on me as a child, you could say. But to impact something or someone is to have a strong effect or influence on them. For example, your high school teacher probably impacted your education in some way. 10, increase and increase. So an increase is when something goes up. An increase in the population of tigers, for example. To increase something is to actively make it bigger. For example, people interested in building muscle want to increase their muscle mass and strength. 11. Insult versus insult. An insult is something that is rude or harmful. The rude person hurled insults at them for no reason. To insult someone is to be disrespectful. It's important not to insult others when giving constructive criticism or feedback. 12. Object, object. An object is a thing. For example, what is your favorite object that you possess? To object means to disagree with someone. The new tenants objected to the amount of noise in the building, so they filed a complaint. 13. Permit, permit. A permit is an official document to authorize something. For example, you need a work permit to work abroad. And to permit something is to allow it. For example, her parents permitted her to have a sleepover this weekend. 14. Present and present. A present is a gift. To present is to give a presentation or a meeting. 15. Proceed and proceed. Proceeds is a plural noun, and it means that the money that was raised during an event, like a fundraiser, that usually go to a specific charity. To proceed means to continue or carry on. It could also mean to begin a course of action. For example, let's go ahead and proceed with our current plan. 16. Progress and progress. Progress is the forward movement that you're making toward an end goal or destination. The progress she's seeing with her strength journey is enormous. To progress means to go to the next level. You've progressed with your English, which is why you're here at the advanced English level now. 17. Project and project. A project is something that you're working on. What work projects do you have going on at the moment? To project means to make something louder, such as your voice. You can project your voice so that people, even at the back of the room, can hear you. Project also can mean to estimate or forecast something. For example, the company projected that they'd spend $50 million on new business ventures. 18. Rebel and rebel. A rebel is someone who goes against authority or norms. A famous movie with James Dean is called Rebel Without a Cause. To rebel means to go against something. The children rebelled against their parents for taking away their Nintendo. 19. Refill and refill. A refill is to get something replenished. Sometimes at movie theaters, they'll give you free refills of popcorn or soda when you buy one. To refill something means to get more of it. For example, we need to refill the gas tank when it's empty. So to do that, we go to a gas station. 20. Refund and refund. A refund is when you get your money back. Sometimes people get tax refunds, which is always lovely. To refund someone means to give them money back. For example, you might refund your friend after they lent you money. 21. Reject and reject. A reject is someone who has been an outcast. For example, a lot of successful people claimed to have been rejects or outcasts in their school or on their sports teams. A reject can also be an insult to mean a failure or a loser. So be mindful if you use this term. To reject something means to dismiss it as unacceptable, inadequate, or faulty, like there's a problem with it. The boss rejected the proposal because it had a lot of typos and grammatical mistakes in it. 22. Repeat and repeat. A repeat of something means that you do it again. For example, we played the album on repeat in order to memorize the lyrics. Sometimes I like to play songs on repeat if I really like the song. To repeat something means to say or do it again with repetition. When you play an instrument, you repeat something over and over until it's just right. Or if you're a dancer, you repeat the choreography over and over again until you've got it memorized. 23, subject and subject. A subject is something or someone being discussed. It could also be something that is being studied. For example, a lot of people take English as a subject at school. To subject someone is to cause them to undergo a certain type of treatment, and it's not always good. For example, the ancient queen subjected her people to a terrifying ordeal. 24, suspect and suspect. A suspect is someone who is wanted for a crime they may have committed. For example, this person was a suspect in the jewelry robbery. To suspect means to have a hunch or a feeling that something is some way. For example, if you suspect a gas leak, you'll call the gas company right away for them to check it out. 25, record and record. A record is a written piece or an audio recording or video recording used as documentation about the past. For example, a historical record can be found in a museum, but we also can keep our own written records when we want to measure progress or remember something. So to record something is to put something in writing, take photos or videos or audio so that you have it on record. For example, I record my lessons and I share them with my students. 26, wind, wind. Wind is a noun. It's what blows through the air, making the weather windy. To wind is to spin something or twist it so that it can work. For example, some toys have a key in them that you wind up, and when you wind the key, they start to move. Lead and lead. Lead is a metal. Sometimes there are trace amounts of lead in water, so it's good to use a filter if you can. To lead is to be in charge of something. For example, this was her first time leading a team, so she was a bit nervous. Close and close. They're spelled the same. Close if someone appears to be near. I'm so happy I live very close to my best friend. To close something is to shut it, meaning the opposite of open. She closed the door because it was too noisy in the hall. 29, tear and tear, spelled the same way. A tear is what our eyes do when we cry or when we're dicing onions. Don't shed a tear because it's over, smile because it happened. To tear something means to rip it. The composer tears all of the sheet music that is not perfect. 30, import and import. If something is of import, it is of importance. The import of the CEO's message is clear to the employers. An import can also be an object or a commodity that is being brought into a country to be sold. For example, there are a lot of imports from Europe. To import something means to bring goods into the country in the hope of selling it. 31, export and export. An export is what you send to other countries for sale. To export means to ship goods or services abroad. He exports a lot of textiles to the US. Protest, protest. A protest is when there's a public show of disagreement toward a decision by an authority figure. For example, there were peaceful protests in the park to voice objections to trees being cut down. To protest means to express disagreement or objection to what has been said or done. Before Matt protested, he prepared his notes so that he could remember all of the facts and make a strong argument. 34, redo and redo. A redo is a do-over. It means that you do something again with the hopes of making it better the next time around. To redo something is to do it over. We can redo or redo, meaning we do the redo over again because we want to make it the best we can. A little bit of a mind twister there, right? All right, wow, amazing job. That was 68 words. So really nice work getting through all of these homographs. Remember, it can be tricky when a word is spelled the same, looks identical, but is pronounced differently and has a different meaning, and is used in a different way in an utterance. Sometimes the noun and verb form are the same, but they have different meanings, as you can see. Hopefully, understanding these words will help you use them confidently in your English conversation and in business. All right, advanced English learners, thank you so much for joining me for this lesson. I appreciate you tuning in. So I encourage you to use as many of these words as you can in your next conversation in English. If you enjoyed this lesson, which I hope you did, please feel free to give it a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Feel free to leave us a nice review. You can leave up to 5 stars, which I hope you will, because it really does help us out. And feel free to visit our blog where you can get more free resources and more free lessons. So be sure to check that out. It's at advancedenglish.co/blog. All right, I will see you in your next advanced English lesson where we're going to continue advancing your English together. Until then, keep up the awesome work, and I will see you soon.